Put down the invisible gavel for a moment, my dear. Not because you did everything perfectly, but because you're tired of holding court inside your own heart. You do not need to prove you deserve a fresh start. You are allowed to return to yourself the way you would return home, quietly, honestly, without making a speech. Right now, let this be simple. Let this be warm. Let this be the beginning that doesn't ask you to bleed for it. If there's a part of you that whispers, I should be further along, I hear it. That voice usually shows up when you care, when you want to be proud of yourself, when you want your life to feel steadier than it has felt. And still, shame tries to take the steering wheel and call it responsibility. But responsibility does not require cruelty. Accountability does not require humiliation. You can choose growth without choosing self-attack. Let your shoulders drop just a fraction, as if you're taking off a heavy coat you forgot you were wearing. Let your breath move in and out in its own natural way, and on the next slow exhale, allow yourself to notice, you are here now. That's enough for this moment. That's enough to begin. Here is a truth you can rest in. Shame is not the voice of wisdom. Shame is loud, sharp, and urgent. Wisdom is steady, kind, and clear. Shame says, you are bad. Wisdom says, something hurt, something happened, and you can choose again. One of these voices makes space for you to learn. The other makes you hide. So today, we're practicing a different kind of start. Not the dramatic start where you swear you'll never stumble again. Not the start where you punish yourself into productivity. A gentler start, a human start. A start that honors your emotions, your history, and your dignity. You might be carrying a private list of what you should have done. You might be replaying a conversation, a decision, a season of choices you wish you could edit. You might be feeling that tight, familiar pinch in your chest that says, I messed up, and now I have to pay. Sweet one, listen closely. Paying in suffering is not the same as paying attention. Punishment is not the same thing as change. If you can, let the harsh question loosen its grip. Not, what's wrong with me? But, what do I need right now? That question is a doorway. That question is a hand reaching back to you. That question turns a shame spiral into a moment of care. You do not need to wait until you feel flawless to feel good. You do not need to reach some mythical finish line to deserve relief. There is a lie that says, if I feel good now, I'll become lazy or careless. But feeling good is not the same as avoiding growth. Feeling good can be the ground you grow from. Softness can be sturdy. Let's begin with the difference between responsibility and self-attack. Responsibility says, I see what happened, I own my part, I'm willing to learn. Self-attack says, I'm hopeless, I always ruin things, I don't deserve nice things. Responsibility is a compass. Self-attack is a cage. Here's your first truth line, small enough to carry in your pocket. I can be honest without being cruel. Let it be your steady reminder whenever you wobble or doubt. Notice how that sentence doesn't let you off the hook, and it doesn't throw you into the fire either. It's balanced. It's loving. It's real. When your mind brings up the past, try this tiny shift. Name one thing you learned instead of labeling yourself. Not, I'm such an idiot, but I learned I need clearer boundaries. Not, I always mess it up, but I learned I do better with more rest. Not, I'm too much, but I learned I need to speak up sooner. This is how you turn pain into wisdom without turning yourself into a villain. If you want a short affirmation here, take this one. I learn, I adjust, I begin again. Let it land like a soft bell. And now, a vow. Not a vow that squeezes you, but one that supports you. Today I choose to be on my own side, even while I'm still figuring things out. Let those words be a gentle fence around your heart. There is another tender truth we need to say out loud. You may have been taught that shame is a motivator. Maybe you grew up with criticism as help. Maybe love felt conditional, like it showed up only when you performed. Maybe you learned to stay small so you wouldn't be judged. If any of that is true for you, it makes sense that you reach for shame like a tool. It's familiar, but familiar does not mean good for you. So we're choosing a new tool. We're choosing permission. Permission to feel good before everything is perfect. Permission to feel a little peace, even if you still have work to do. Permission to laugh without checking whether you've earned it. Permission to rest without making rest into a reward. This is not escapism. This is nourishment. Here is your next truth line. Joy is not a reward for suffering. Joy is a natural part of being alive. You don't have to bleed to deserve a moment of sunlight. There might be a part of you that resists this. It might say, but if I let myself feel good, I'll forget what I did. No, my love, you won't forget. You'll simply stop stabbing yourself with the memory. You can remember and still be gentle. You can learn and still be kind. Try one small, pleasant thing as part of your restart. It can be tiny: a cup of warm tea, a clean pillowcase, a song that opens your chest, a walk where you notice the sky, a warm shower where you let the water be a blessing, a moment of tidying one corner, not as punishment, but as care. Let goodness be allowed in small doses, like light through a window. And let this be your permission slip. It can be safe to feel good in small, quiet ways. You don't have to shout it. You can whisper it, the way you whisper to someone you're trying to soothe. Here's a gentle question to keep you from slipping back into the courtroom. What would change if you treated this moment like a beginning instead of evidence? Evidence that you're failing, evidence that you're behind, evidence that you're not enough. What if instead it's simply a beginning, a fresh page, a new sentence? Because shame loves to write your story for you. It loves to say, see, this is who you are. But you are not a single moment. You are not your worst day. You are not the version of you that was trying to survive with limited tools. So let's talk about the shame script and the new script. The shame script has predictable lines. It says, you always. It says, you never. It says, everyone else can do this but you. It says, you don't deserve to start again. It says, if you were truly strong, you wouldn't feel this. The new script is not sugary. It's honest, and it's kind. It sounds like, I'm learning. It sounds like, this is hard and I'm still here. It sounds like, I can repair. It sounds like, I can choose the next right thing. It sounds like, I am worthy of gentleness while I grow. Here is your truth line for this chapter. Your past is information, not a life sentence. Information can guide you. A sentence tries to imprison you. You get to use the past as a teacher, not a jailer. So practice this. Replace one harsh sentence with one honest, kind sentence. Not, I ruined everything, but I'm disappointed, and I can take one step to mend this. Not, I'm unlovable, but I'm feeling tender, and I need comfort. Not, I can't trust myself, but I'm rebuilding trust with small choices. The brain listens, the heart listens. Your whole life listens to the words you repeat. And here is a micro affirmation to help you turn the page. I release the need to punish myself to prove I care. That is a powerful sentence. It doesn't excuse harm. It simply ends the ritual of self-punishing blaming in the name of being serious. Let's create a small chorus you can come back to when your mind gets loud. I am here now, and that matters. I can choose again, and that is enough. Say it again if you want. Let it meet you wherever you are. Now, a simple reset ritual, not a complicated program, not a perfect routine that you abandon the first time life gets messy. Just a small ritual you can return to in under a minute, even in the middle of a busy day. It has 3 parts: notice, soften, choose. Notice is simply naming what's here. This is shame. This is regret. This is the fear of starting over. This is the urge to punish myself. You don't have to dramatize it. You don't have to analyze it to death. You just notice like you'd notice weather. Soften is letting your body and your voice relax by 1 degree. You might unclench your hands. You might relax your tongue. You might let your eyes soften, as if you are looking at someone you love. Soften is a signal. It says, I am not in danger from my own feelings. Choose is one small next step that is kind and true. Not the whole staircase, just the next step. Maybe the next step is drinking water. Maybe it's replying to one message. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for needing a nap. Maybe it's cleaning one dish, not the entire kitchen. Maybe it's writing one sentence in your journal. Maybe it's saying, I'm sorry, where an apology is needed. Maybe it's saying no, where a boundary is needed. Here is the truth line that holds this ritual together. Small returns create real trust. Trust isn't built by grand promises. It's built by the way you come back again and again without abandoning yourself. And here's something else that's quietly true. The moment you notice you've drifted is not a moment of failure. It's a moment of awareness. Awareness is your ally. It means the light is on. It means you're awake inside your own life. So instead of saying, "I can't believe I'm here again," you can say, "I'm here again, and I know what to do next." That's a huge difference. That's a compassionate mind at work. Sometimes shame tries to hurry you. It wants you to sprint back to good so you don't have to feel uncomfortable. But a rushed restart often becomes a brittle restart. It breaks the first time life bumps into it. A steady restart can hold real life. It can hold a bad mood, an unexpected bill, a tough conversation, a day when your energy is low. So give yourself a pace you can keep. Give yourself a pace that respects your humanity. If you broke a promise to yourself, you can make a new kind of promise. Not, "I will never do that again," but "when I drift, I'll return." Not, "I will be perfect," but "I will be honest." Not, "I will force myself," but "I will support myself." This is the kind of promise that builds trust because it's realistic. It assumes you're human. It assumes you might wobble, and it still believes in you. And if you like a practical lens, think of it this way. When an old trigger shows up, you don't have to follow the old path. There's often a cue, then an automatic routine, then some kind of payoff, even if it's an unhealthy one. The cue might be stress. The routine might be self-criticism. The payoff might be a temporary illusion of control. But you can change the next step. You can choose a gentler routine. You can choose a kinder payoff, like relief, clarity, or steadiness. Here is a micro-affirmation to anchor that choice. One kind choice can be a powerful restart. Not 10, not 50. 1. Let's pause and gather what we've already placed in your hands. We separated responsibility from self-attack. We allowed permission to feel good without waiting for perfection. We began rewriting the shame script. We created a tiny reset ritual you can return to. That is real work. That is real love. Now I want to offer you a metaphor that doesn't ask you to be someone else. Starting again is like turning to a new page that's still warm from your hands. The page is clean, yes, but it's not cold. It's not sterile. It carries your handwriting. It carries the proof that you've been living. You don't need a different life to begin again. You need a kinder relationship with the life you have. And this is where a short story can help. Not as a lesson to swallow, but as a mirror to soften into. There was a woman named Mina who kept a quiet calendar on her kitchen wall. Every month, she would start with bright intentions. She would write little words in the corners: begin, practice, return. But then life would happen. A demanding week at work, a family argument that left her drained, a few nights of poor sleep that made everything feel heavier. By the second week, Mina would look at the calendar and feel the familiar heat of shame rise in her chest. She would tear the page down early, as if removing the evidence could remove the feeling. One morning, after a week where nothing went as planned, Mina stood in her kitchen holding a new calendar page. Her hand hovered near the thumbtack. She felt the old thought arrive, sharp as a pin. You don't deserve a fresh start. And she realized something. No amount of tearing pages had made her kinder. No amount of self-scolding had made her steady. She had been trying to start again with a whip in her hand. So she did something different. She placed the page on the wall, and instead of writing a perfect plan, she wrote one sentence in soft ink. I will not speak to myself like an enemy. That was it. No grand overhaul, no punishment, just one boundary with her own inner voice. That day, Mina still didn't do everything, but she did one thing with tenderness. She washed a bowl and felt the warm water as a kindness. She answered one email and let that be enough. She stepped outside for 5 minutes and let the air remind her she was alive. And when the shame tried to rise, she touched the paper on the wall and returned to her sentence. Over time, that sentence became a quiet power, not because it made her perfect, but because it kept her from abandoning herself. She learned that the turning point wasn't discipline, it was self-respect. And from self-respect, her choices became steadier, not forced, gentler, not brittle. The moral is simple. When you stop shaming yourself, you don't stop growing. You finally have room to grow. So let's bring this back to you, right where you are. If you've been holding your own heart hostage, you can release it. If you've been waiting for a day when you feel worthy, you can begin now with the worthiness you already have as a living person. Sometimes, in the spirit of Louise Hay's work, people use a kind gaze and gentle words as a daily practice. Not to pretend nothing hurts, but to meet themselves with love. I'm not here to speak as Louise, and I'm not here to borrow anyone's voice. I'm simply honoring that tender tradition. Your words matter, and your relationship with yourself is the foundation you stand on. So here is a simple practice you can try in your own way. When you see your reflection today, even briefly, let your face soften. Not a performance smile, just soft eyes. And offer yourself one sentence you would say to someone you adore. Maybe it's, I'm proud of you for trying. Maybe it's, you're doing the best you can today. Maybe it's, you don't have to be perfect to be loved. Let the sentence be true. Let it be gentle. Let it be yours. Here is your truth line for this chapter. The way I look at myself becomes the way I live with myself. If you look at yourself with disgust, you will live with tightness. If you look at yourself with tenderness, you will live with more space. This is not magic. It is the daily shaping of your inner world. Try this micro affirmation. I am willing to be kinder to myself today. Willing is a beautiful word. It doesn't demand instant transformation. It opens a door. And here is another vow, steady and simple. I will not abandon myself for being human. You can be human and still be worthy of love. You can make mistakes and still deserve care. You can start again and still be real. Now, because shame can be persistent, let's build a gentle sequence you can return to when it tries to hook you. First, you notice you name it without drama. Second, you soften. You release the smallest bit of tension. Third, you choose. You choose one kind next step. If you need examples, here are a few kind next steps you can choose from without turning it into a lecture. You can drink a glass of water. You can wash your face. You can open a window. You can write one honest sentence about what you feel. You can send one message that repairs. You can step away from a screen for a minute. You can place a hand over your heart and offer yourself simple reassurance. 7 simple options, not as rules, but as invitations. And because your mind likes to argue, let's answer 3 common objections softly, the way you would soothe a worried child. The first objection is, if I'm kind to myself, I'll never change. Kindness is not complacency. Kindness gives you the safety to learn. The second objection is, I don't deserve kindness after what I did. Deserving is not a prize you win by suffering. Kindness is a tool you use to become better. The third objection is, I've tried before and it didn't work. Trying before is not failure. It's proof you keep returning, and returning is how change unfolds. Let's take a small breath together, not as a command, but as a shared moment. Let the inhale remind you that you're allowed to take up space. Let the exhale remind you that you can let something go. Here's a soft recap to keep you anchored. You are not required to punish yourself to grow. You are allowed to feel good in small ways. You can rewrite the next sentence. You can return to yourself with dignity. Now I want to speak to the part of you that fears starting again because you think it will hurt too much if you fail. Sweet one, failure is not the only risk. The other risk is never beginning at all because you're waiting for perfect conditions. And you don't need perfect conditions. You need a gentle willingness. Willingness looks like this. I can take one step. Willingness looks like this. I can try again, softly. Willingness looks like this. I can forgive myself for being in process. There may be a memory that makes your shame feel justified. A time someone shamed you. A time you were told you were too much or not enough. A time you were punished for needing help. If those memories are present, you don't have to wrestle them today. You can simply choose to stop repeating the same cruelty inside your own mind. You can be the one who breaks the pattern. And breaking the pattern often begins with language. Not lofty language. Simple language you can actually believe. So let's weave in a few affirmations like gentle threads, not like slogans. You are worthy of a fresh start. I forgive myself for the ways I tried to cope. I belong to myself. If that feels tender, you can simply choose supportive words, welcome a little peace, and let small steps count as sincere progress today. Notice how these are not claims about what will definitely happen. They are choices. They are orientations. They are ways of facing your life with more love. If you feel resistance, that's okay. Resistance is not proof you're doing it wrong. Resistance is often just fear in a different outfit. So meet the resistance with gentleness too. You can say, "Thank you for trying to protect me." Then you can choose again. Let's return to that warm page metaphor for a moment. You don't need to rip the page out of the book because the previous chapter was messy. You can keep the book. You can keep the wisdom. You can keep the tenderness you're learning, and you can still turn the page. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is lower the bar from perfect to present. Present means you show up with what you have. Present means you tell the truth kindly. Present means you make one small repair. Present means you let yourself be a beginner again. And beginners are brave. Beginners are honest. Beginners don't have to pretend they know everything. They simply return. Now let's touch on forgiveness in a grounded way. Forgiveness is not pretending nothing happened. Forgiveness is not forcing yourself to feel a certain way. Forgiveness is releasing the need to punish yourself as a way to control the past. You can regret and still forgive. You can take responsibility and still be gentle. If an apology is part of your path, you can offer it with humility. If a boundary is part of your path, you can set it with respect. If rest is part of your path, you can take it without shame. If starting over is part of your path, you can do it without making yourself small. And if your shame is tied to other people, let this be gentle too. Sometimes we feel ashamed because we disappointed someone, or because we needed something and didn't know how to ask, or because we stayed silent when we wanted to speak. Starting again might look like one brave, simple sentence. I'm thinking about what happened and I want to do better. Or, I hear you and I also need to be honest. Or, I'm sorry for my part and I'm learning. Repair doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be quiet and sincere, and it can begin with the way you treat yourself while you make it. And if you are starting again in private, where no one sees the effort, please honor that too. Some of the most meaningful restarts happen in ordinary moments. Choosing not to scroll when you're depleted, choosing to eat something that feels nourishing, choosing to go to bed a little earlier, choosing to speak to yourself with respect when no one is watching. These choices might look small from the outside, but inside you, they build a new home. Here is a tiny morning and night kind of ritual you can hold lightly. When you wake, you can offer yourself a simple greeting, something as simple as, "Good morning, sweetheart." When you end the day, you can offer a soft closing line that honors your effort. These are not magic words. They are reminders. They train your inner voice to become a friend again. Let this be an other truth line. I do not have to earn gentleness by suffering. You can choose gentleness because it is wise. And here is an affirmation to tuck into the day. I am growing in my own timing, and I am allowed to feel good along the way. If you forget, come back gently again. The return is always available today, and you never have to return alone inside yourself. Here is a line I want you to remember. because it's easy to forget when shame gets loud. You are allowed to feel good while you are becoming, not after, while. And if today feels heavy, let your goal be simple. Not fix my life, not become a new person overnight. Let your goal be, I will return to myself one more time. That is enough. And before we close, let 2 lines hold you steady. Let the old story loosen. You must suffer to be worthy. Let the new story arrive. You can grow with love. Let that settle. Let it take root in the parts of you that are tired. We're nearing the close, and I want to gather everything into your hands like a small bundle you can carry with you. Starting again without shame means you stop using pain as proof of sincerity. It means you choose honesty without cruelty. It means you allow small moments of good because good helps you live. It means you rewrite the next sentence. It means you return again and again with dignity. If you forget everything else, remember this: you can always come back. You can come back after a hard day. You can come back after a sharp word. You can come back after a week that fell apart. You can come back after you thought you wouldn't. Coming back is not weakness. Coming back is love. So tonight, or this morning, or in the middle of your day, let your inner voice become a place you can rest. Let it become a home, not a battlefield. Let it become a steady hand on your shoulder. And now, a final blessing in a spiritual light way without any pressure. May you feel supported by the simple fact that you are alive. May you feel guided by your own inner kindness. May you feel permission to begin again as many times as you need. May you treat yourself with the respect you have always deserved. You are allowed to take up your space and begin again gently today. One last affirmation, like a candle you can carry. I begin again with gentleness, and I am proud of myself for returning. And as you go, let this be true. You don't have to shame yourself into a better life. You can love yourself into one small, honest step at a time.